Okay.
Welcome to the podcast, Leah. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Same, likewise. As I told you before we started our conversation here, I've been admiring what you're doing online. And one of the things that attracted me to your work was that you do weightlifting for women, and that's something that I have a deep interest in and very little knowledge on. So I thought about you, and so thank you so much for being here. And I have lots of questions, but before we get started, I was hoping that maybe you could share a little bit about your story and what got you started on this path.
Absolutely. I've always done weightlifting because, as you know, Sonia, you've known me for a really, really long time. We're basically family.
Right.
I was overweight as a kid. And I knew that that wasn't the person I was supposed to be. So at a young age, I did everything the wrong way, starved myself, ran miles, did things I shouldn't have done, but I didn't know any better. But
Right.
as I started getting older and got into my late teens, early 20s, like, hey, there has to be there has to be something better to this, or something that's not bad for me. Because as I started reading, as I started learning more, I knew that, okay, starving is not the way to do it. And even from then to now, things have changed. Science has just we know so much more about it. And
Right.
not because before, as you know, in the 80s with the cardio bunnies and all that,
Low
and I
fat.
started early, lifting weights pretty early on.
Wow.
And I stopped when I had my daughter. And that's when I really dug deep in because when I had my daughter, I got postpartum depression, didn't understand what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the doctor was really fast to give me medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a true believer then and now that, if there's other ways, I'm going to try that first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's wrong. Hey, we all walk
Right.
different paths in life, and we all
Right.
deal with different things in life, and
Right.
we all deal with it differently. But I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to check out, what else can I do? So it was always an interest in my head. And it was always a thing with me being an overweight kid.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, again, I just started getting, deeper and deeper into it. But back to when I had my daughter, I stopped working out
Mm-hmm.
and dealt with the whole postpartum. Didn't understand what it was. The doctor wanted to give me pills. I said, I'm going to hold off.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to school and started learning a little bit more, got into kinesiology and started learning more about that, and how our body functions and how it works and what does muscle mean.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a while for me to really understand and get back into working out. And I never needed those pills, which was awesome.
That's amazing.
And that's how it started for me. And from there, I worked at a gym, started there, built my own little team of women, called it Strong for Life.
Mm-hmm.
It got huge at the gym, and then COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really bad back injury.
Oh.
And this is where all my other stuff kicked in. Had a really bad back injury. It was my L1 to my L5.
Oh.
All of them just bulged, and I had herniated discs
Wow.
and the SI, which is right at the bottom there where our
Okay.
pelvis is on the back. So that was an eye opener because I saw many physical therapists,
Mm-hmm.
and there's good ones, awesome
Mm-hmm.
ones, but then there's the bad, just
Yeah.
like in everything, in my industry as well, unfortunately. But so saw a few not good ones, and long story short, I basically uh, didn't need them, and I opened the books, and here I am
You know
lifting again.
yourself. Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for touching on postpartum. I'm a big proponent of um, talking about it. And
Hmm.
that's a conversation for another day. But thank you so much for sharing that part of your story and
Absolutely.
how you got here. So so would you say that through weightlifting and you like helped heal yourself from your postpartum and from your injuries? Is that what helped, or is it a combination of things that you did?
It's a little combination of things because also with weightlifting, there's mobility, flexibility, and function, and you need all these things. And that's where if it, and as you know, as we age, our insulin and our carb resistant
Mhm.
is it drops. So basically, it's just everything starts to get a little bit harder, unfortunately, and that's why around our 30s and 40s is when we really have to just build that armor that
Mhm.
of muscle that are going to help us with everything
Mhm.
and everything that we do. And that's why I'm a large believer that even if you can't afford a trainer, there's so many things online that that and I know you do have to kind of filter through all the bad stuff,
Yes.
unfortunately, in Instagram, and which drives
Mhm.
me absolutely crazy.
Yes.
But it's there, and the knowledge is there, and there's so many different things that you can
Mhm.
look for
Yes.
as far as mobility and again, weight training. I should call it. I like to call it strength training. Is
Okay.
different for everyone depending on injuries, what you've been through,
Mhm.
what you're going through, where your body's at, past injuries, current injuries. It's a very wide spectrum of things
Mhm.
that you have to look at,
Mhm.
and it's very important that because I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. I've seen
Mhm.
it,
Right.
and it's
Okay.
yeah. So we have
Okay.
to be careful as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm one of those people who has tried to find something online, and it's just mind-boggling. I don't know where to go or where to start, and I don't want to hurt myself, and I don't know if it's right for me. So
Right.
so maybe should we start there? Like, how do you work with people, or what should we be looking at if we want to the benefits of strength training, and then maybe what are the benefits of strength training?
Absolutely. What I usually recommend, and again, is if we're talking about a person that just goes online and starts, Googling this and that, to me, the best thing to start is with bands and body weight.
Oh, wow.
Because again, yeah, there's less injury there.
Mhm.
You can learn from those things, and I'm trying my hardest to get my website out. I left it stranded, a year
Mhm.
ago, and then I
Mhm.
opened my gym, so it's been,
Mhm.
all my attention has been on my gym,
Of
and
course,
it's
I
just.
get
But
it.
I'm trying to build up that website because
Mhm.
I do have a lot of uh, ex-clients that have moved away and
Mhm.
they keep Lya, can you do Zoom? I'm not doing Zoom anymore. I don't have time to do Zoom. Well, where's your website? I'm like, so I'm slowly trying to take those baby steps on building my website and doing all
Mhm.
that. But I'm not very techie. I'm very one-on-one. I love real
Mhm.
people. I love touching them, talking to them, seeing how they move. And that's my thing. So again, I'm taking baby steps to get there. But
Yeah.
going back to the question with bands and body weight, it's so that there's the easiest things you could do is squats.
Mhm.
There's push-ups,
Mhm.
and as far as bands, there's so many different. It's hard to go wrong with a band. If
Mhm.
you look up a band workout, it's really
Mhm.
hard to go like with weights. You can really hurt yourself with weights.
Right.
That's extra weight you're adding onto your body, which you may not be able to move that way. With bands, it's a little bit easier because they move with you.
Mhm.
So when somebody's starting and they're not sure, I would start with body weight
Mhm.
and bands because
Mhm.
when you slow a body weight exercise down, trust me, you're going to be sore, you're going to be feeling it. And you can gain muscle with those things. Again, you would have to again progress
Mhm.
and start using weights, but you can sit in bands and body weight exercises for a good 3 months
Okay, good.
and start there. Yeah.
That's
So
great
it's
to
easy to
know.
start from home because I know gyms are crazy intimidating.
Right, right, exactly. And yeah, bands and body weight, that's something I can definitely do at home. So I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
And bands are cheap. Bands are
yeah,
affordable,
yeah,
which is
totally.
wonderful.
Yeah. And so body weight, would you say that looks like yoga, kind of like Pilates, like squats, push-ups? Is that what you're talking about?
Yoga and Pilates, wonderful, wonderful things. I recommend them to my clients. Aside from strength training, you have your
Okay.
strength training, and then you have those are just like the add-ons.
Okay,
They're
cool.
great for mental stress,
Mm-hmm.
but so is weight training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good how do you say it? It's something good to have and do But strength training, again, as we get older and we're talking about midlife, you have to lift weights eventually.
Okay.
If you're capable of doing it, again, I'm talking about just your average woman in midlife that has, that has no injuries. Yes, I know we have different issues going on with like inflammation and all that, and weight training slash strength training helps with all those things. So it's definitely a must. You need an armor of muscle as we get older.
Okay. Okay. I love this. Thank you. This is really, I'm lighting up. I'm like excited. So this
I know. Okay. So you know how I feel. It's like every day to me, it's like,
yeah. Yes,
it's like,
I see you
yeah.
on Instagram and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like such a wealth of wisdom and I love to see what you're posting. So that's why I'm like so happy you're here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So bands and body weight. I like that. So before we move into how can somebody start the actual weightlifting, can you talk to us a little bit about what are the benefits of weightlifting? I know that a lot of women are scared of bulking up, but I believe that that's not a thing for us because our bodies are made different from men. So can you talk a little bit about like the benefits and what
Yes,
it looks like when we actually start, lifting weights?
absolutely. That's one of the questions that I always get when I get a new client. And one, they walk in and I'm 5'11". They're just like, what? And I don't carry as much muscle as I did in my 20s. I've dropped a little bit of my muscle again because my back injury. I used to do powerlifting and Olympic lifting, and
Awesome.
I don't do that I do some, not all. Again, I'm getting older. I turned 50 in August. So, I've toned down a little bit, but again, yeah.
Welcome.
But we need to, and I excuse my language, but we need to lift some heavy shit because again, I keep going back to that armor that we need as we get older, because again, all the issues that we have, and I can sit here and just have that whole conversation just about that, because again, we cannot bulk up as we get older. And yes, women do have to testosterone. Our levels drop majorly once we hit the age around 35, 40, they drop fast. So we're basically chasing that muscle. There is no way. I lift heavy. I lift really heavy still. Okay. And I work out 6 days a week. I'm still very lean, I don't carry all that muscle. Again, all those bodybuilding, that's a whole different monster you have to take, especially at my age. If I decided, I'm going to go do 50 and over bodybuilding, I would need a whole table of supplements. I would need a whole different set of working out. It's so specific. So it takes a lot. So as far as will I bulk up, the answer is no. Okay. And there's no such thing as I'm going to go get tone. What happens is you build muscle. We tear up the muscle, right? We sleep, it repairs itself. And that's and it stretches your skin, looks nice. And that's where toning comes in. There's no real thing as I'm going to go get tone and do only these exercises. So that's not it's not real.
It's almost one and the same, really.
Yes.
So you gotta lift the weights to actually get to that tone.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and as far as just again, as we get older, again, going back to like insulin levels and all that, everything as far as our bones, our ligaments, our tendons, they all work together. They're all friends in our body from head to toe. So if one isn't okay, guess what? They're all going to join in and not be okay. So when we lift weights and our muscles secrete, right? They secrete an anti-inflammatory, right? Because we have the good inflammation and the bad inflammation. And so what happens is it secretes it when we work out, and that's what the muscles do. And that's good for all those things I just said, our tendons, our ligaments, our joints, which is big. I can't forget the joints. The joints are huge. And I do have clients that lift weights and, oh, my joints, oh, my this. But I always try to remind them, you got to take a little bit of the bad with the good, because when you first start lifting weights, you are going to have discomfort. And I always lay that out because I don't want them to get scared. There is discomfort. If you start squatting and your knees start to hurt, and you do not have any sort of injury, I don't care if you're 55, I don't care if you're 60. Yes, it will go away eventually. You just kind of have to just keep driving up that hill, to get there. And again, and there might be other areas, because again, we're all the same but different, depending on our lifestyle and what we do for work and all that. And they all kind of play a role in it. But when it comes down to it, as far as it helps with aging, it helps with depression, it helps with, and all these things that doctors are so fast to give you pills for, it's right there in our hands, and it just drives me crazy. There's so much information out there, but at the same time, it's scary for us women, especially at this age. And that's why when I get a new client, it's just like, okay, fresh blood. I'm going to just fill them. And I always tell them, I don't want to scare you. I just, pass it on. Pass it on.
Yes.
Because, I at this age, I'm all about just throwing. I want everybody to understand that it's not a bad thing. We need it. We need it. And it's there for the taking,
The way I'm kind of thinking about weightlifting is that if we're not actively building muscle, we're actually losing it, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's scary.
And that is, it is. Really, it's very scary. It is, because again, once we hit 40, we're chasing that muscle. I'm chasing it every single time I work out, every time I'm eating, which brings me to nutrition. As we get older, and don't get me wrong, Latina, I like my cocktails, I know, and so what I do is just, most of the time, it's eating well, making sure I get my protein, making sure that I'm eating healthy. And there's so much BS out there. There's so much, again, people just want your money. People just want there's the keto, there's this, there's that. It might work for a short amount of time.
Right.
But again, at our age, guess what? You better really be looking into it, and you better go see a doctor about it, because you cannot jump from this thing to that thing. For me, I'm vegan. I've been vegetarian. I don't know if you remember, as that was one of my things, like, I'm going to lose weight, but I stayed vegetarian, and I went vegan about 5 years ago. And I stuck to it. So I'm really chasing that protein and muscle every day. And for me, it's everything. I've tried everything. And when it comes down to it, it's just eating real foods, and just trying to get in your greens, your fats, your good carbs. And it's not as hard as people think, especially at our age. And again, I do have a cocktail here and there, but I would say 90% of the time it's all good. So I know I'm okay to have that, couple glasses of wine, and because I know it's real life out there. And that's why I tell my clients, they get scared. Well, I want to go out and have a drink. Then go out and have a drink. I'm not telling you, not to live, and that's important too, because you have those hardcore coaches out there that are just all, no, and they scare the person away, and then that's it. They close the book and they walk away. And I get it.
And baby steps. I mean, you can't go from like this to like 100% the opposite.
No,
we start with
baby steps
and body weight, and then weightlifting, and then let me incorporate the nutrition, and like
absolutely
there, because
you're on the right track, Sonia. Exactly. And that's what I totally I'm all about it, because I've been there. I've seen so many clients just struggle, and they try to do everything at once. And I always tell them, don't do that. You're just, you're setting yourself up for failure, and it's not, you're going to get tired fast. You're going to get bored fast. You're going to say it's not for you. So yeah, you're on the right track.
Well, in my head I am, but like, let's actually do it. It's like I go back and forth between I'm sticking with it, and then oops, I went too far back. So
right.
Okay, so how then? So what is a safe way then for somebody to start incorporating heavy weights? Let's say we've done the bands and the body weight, and we feel like, okay, maybe it's time to step it up. Like, what would be a safe way to do that? At the gym, with the coach? Like, who do we listen to? What does that look like?
Well, a good start is light weights. You know, you're talking about threes, fives, eights. And the way I was taught, and I had a very, very awesome coach, was if a woman walks in and, you know, she's in her 30s and 40s and she's brand new to weightlifting, but she has no injuries, she's healthy, what weight are you going to start them with? You know, and back then I was like, well, I'd give her like twos. No, why would you give her two? She carries groceries. You know, she's had kids, she's carried her kids. You're going to start her at eights and tens at high rep. Yeah. So again, it just depends. And I don't want to make it more difficult than it is, and I don't want to make it sound so difficult. But again, it's just a matter of a test run. You know, you try something doesn't feel right, set them down, go lighter. You know, pick up twos and do an exercise with twos. And you always want to start with high rep. And high rep is from 10 reps to 15 reps. Because maybe those twos feel light for 5 reps, but keep doing them, do 15, and it's like, you know, and the next morning you wake up sore.
Right.
So you almost have to do that test drive. And as far as a circuit or what workout, again, if you want to be safe, I would hire somebody that knows what they're doing for a week and get as much as information you could from them. I mean, I've had clients that have done that. Okay, Lya, I'm going to hire you for 2 weeks and just give it to me. I'm more than happy to. Because most of the time they'll turn around and come right back and be like, give me some more, you know, and, or they'll go off and they'll take what I gave them and just look up online. Okay. You know, and again, don't overwhelm yourself. Start slow with easy things. And most easy workouts start with squats, you know, push-ups, shoulder presses, you know, things like that. It's very simple. If anything gets complicated, it's not a good workout. Move on. Move on, because on Instagram you see these girls doing these crazy things and it's no.
I can't. I'm not that coordinated anymore anyway.
It's not even about that. Yeah, it's just, it's wrong.
Hurt myself because I couldn't.
It should be simple
or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's why simple wins the race. I'm telling you. So, and again, it might seem repetitive, but repetitive again wins the race.
So like you do like 3 sets of like 12 or 15 of something is that, because that's kind of what I have written down for myself. And I don't know if that's really the way, but like I have like several basic exercises for my upper body and lower body. And it's like 3 sets of like 12 to 15 reps or something like that.
Yes.
And then do you increase the weight from there once you like after a week or 2? What does that look like?
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
And going back to like the circuits and when you start, you want to start with like 2 days of full body, which means you're working your upper and your lower and you're working everything that day, whether it's 1 exercise or 2 exercises, whatever. And then you move up to 3. So you move up days before you start thinking about moving up weight. So if you're doing 2 days of full body, you're going to add a 3rd one. And again, you want that rest in between. And then there's also the, where I get from my clients and that, well, Lya, we just work shoulders. Why am I working shoulders again? I just did that. You know, I only had 1 day off. Shouldn't I have 2 days off? And again, science is learning so much now, and they're coming out with so much new information that it's not so much, okay, I don't want you to come in here and do shoulders all week long. But if you had a day off, we're not specifically just doing shoulders. We're going to have 1 workout with shoulders and 3 rounds of it, and then we're going to move on. So again, we're not just fatiguing that shoulders that you worked out the day before, you know, the day before the other day, you know, so you know what I mean. But so again, I would start with 2 days, and then before thinking of increasing the weight, I would do an extra day.
Oh, okay.
So that would be, you're looking at about maybe 6 weeks before you even think about going heavier in the weights.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Again, slow and controlled, and it's going to win the race for sure.
Thank you. Because I haven't seen anywhere online where I get that. It's like, oh, here's a plan, follow it. And I'm like, okay, but for how long? Like what is this?
Yeah.
What should it feel like? You know, I kind of know how to lift a little because I took a class, but there was no customization of like, this is what's going to work for you, and this is how long you do it. It was just the same thing all the time, and I was like, okay, but this isn't helping me anymore. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay. All right, so let's see. So as far as then, like, if you wanted to do like strength training at home, what does it look like? Should we be using dumbbells, or is it better to go to the gym to do it? Like, what is the better way to do it, or ideal?
Ideally, I mean, if you're comfortable going to the gym, you go to the gym.
Mhm.
And and again, I've gotten into arguments with coaches over this. And it just depends. And it's usually the coaches that like to program machines that I
Mm,
usually have this argument, because real strength and conditioning coaches are not going to put you on a machine. This is
okay,
your machine right
thank
here.
you.
And
Okay,
this is what
good.
you want. Unless you have some sort of mobility issues, you have an injury, you're elderly, you're in your 80s and your mobility is not very good. Okay, then we're going to put you on a machine. But guess what? I'm going to see if you can do a squat. I'm going to see if you can sit and stand. I'm going to see what you can do without getting on those machines. And
Mhm.
that's the reason my personal gym has no machines.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
God,
just
I love
weights
that.
and kettlebells and
Yeah.
steps and a squat rack. And the only thing I have is cables and bands. I don't have machines. And that's the first thing I tell clients, because they're like, where's your machines?
Mhm.
You're the machine. You don't need machines. And that's where a lot of coaches get it wrong.
Mhm.
Um, because you want to be able to move for as long as you
Right.
can.
Right.
I want to be 80 and still lifting weights,
Right. Right.
and it's
Same. Yeah.
possible, you
Okay.
know.
Um,
So
yeah,
I
so
would definitely, like I said, bands start if you're not sure, bands and body weight
mhm,
at home. If
mhm,
again, if you're able to go to the gym and you're okay with going to the gym and you're not embarrassed, which you shouldn't be. That's what gyms are for,
mhm.
you know. Um, go to the gym.
Yeah. See, yeah, for me, I'm more intimidated because I'm like, oh God, they're gonna know I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like,
And
what
that's
do
where
I
I
do?
think if you can hire a coach
Mhm,
or a trainer for the first week and just have him see how and a real trainer is going to assess the way you move. They're going to see, they're going to talk to you, about what you do for work. Do you have any injuries and all that I touched on before?
mhm,
So they should be able to give you a program
mhm,
uh, for that week,
mhm.
and that program should be good enough for you for like 3 months.
Right.
And again, as far as progressing, it's common sense. If you pick up those fives and you just did 15 reps and you're like ready to run a lap and you're fine, move up,
Mhm,
and just be cautious of what you're moving to. You're not going to move from fives to 20s.
mhm,
You'll take the eights next.
mhm,
So it's really a lot of just common sense and
mhm,
just knowing your body,
mhm.
and again, what you do for a living, if you work at the grocery store and you're moving, bags and lifting things, it's different. Or somebody that just, is more sedentary and sitting in front of a computer, which there's nothing wrong with that, but your mechanics may be a little bit different.
Right, right. And when you're talking about weight, sorry, working out at the gym, is this like using the dumbbells, or is this like the bars? Like what, because then there's the bars with the big old plates and stuff.
Yeah, but that would be like, because there's different bars, there's fives all the way up to 100 that are just
Mhm,
the smaller, more the barbells that are just out. They're not in the actual squat rack where you load it up with plates.
mhm.
That's different. You don't want to go near that in the
Okay,
beginning. You don't
thank
want to go
you.
near that at least for the first 6 months.
Okay,
Again, it
okay.
depends on the person, but a lot of the gyms just have the smaller bars, and
Mhm,
that where you can add a little bit of weight, or they're already pre-weighted.
mhm,
And they start like at five. And I would say 90% of the gyms have this
mhm,
if you're talking about the big gyms.
mhm,
Um, and again, I would probably get a trainer and have them just program something for you.
mhm,
And at first, I mean, when I started weightlifting years and years ago, I started with just dumbbells for a really long time. And it's again, if you want to get fancy, oh, I want to do the barbells, there's no reason to do that if you're just starting out. Just pace yourself. You'll get there.
mhm,
Because guess what? You lifting those dumbbells, you are building muscle. They're
mhm,
weights.
mhm,
So if you're not comfortable yet, just wait it out. If
mhm.
you're okay doing, just certain little things, and you're thinking, okay, once I get stuck, then I'll hire a trainer. Again, it's just you know, how you feel, you know, where you're at. Because those barbells can get pretty intimidating, you
Mhm.
know, getting them over your head and you're not sure
Yeah,
how to when you should be
yeah,
using your legs. So then there's all that, which
right.
again, if you can afford a trainer for a week, that's probably the best investment
Yeah,
that you can make,
yeah, that's
especially again at our age, because you
right.
do not want to get hurt because it takes so much longer for us to get, you know, overcome that
Right.
any sort of injury.
Yes. So as far as nutrition then is, if we're lifting weights, like I ran marathons for years.
Nice.
And so there was a certain nutrition, right, that went with that. And I had to stop
Hmm.
doing that because it was being completely counterintuitive. And then I started learning and I was like, okay, well, this was the worst shit I could do to my body. So I stopped. That was for me. Everybody has
Hmm.
their own, journey. But for me, it was just I needed to stop. But with that came a certain, I don't want, I guess, diet, if you will, right? But
Hmm.
what is it? What should the nutrition be? Is there anything different that we should do when we're lifting weights aside from like trying to eat clean or trying to like eat healthier and whole foods? Should we be loading up on protein more, or what does that look like? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the protein as we age. You want to make sure you get enough protein. Again, it's feeding our muscles, and those, like you said before, I mean, our muscles, they're as every day, you know, they're getting less and less, and we want to load up on the protein. And again, you know, like you said, you eat clean, and then there's common sense on how you eat clean. You know, because it's again, you don't want to make it more difficult than it is. You know, if you there's the easy plans where they say, you know, look, the size of your fist, this is your carbs, right, this is your protein, and then this is your veggies,
Mhm.
right. um but again, you want to make sure that every single snack you have, there's protein involved,
Oh,
especially again. And the reason I keep coming back to this is because it's midlife. We're midlife. You know, we're here,
wow.
right? So we want to make sure we're getting enough protein and feeding our muscles, feeding that armor.
Wow. Okay. So what does snacks, protein snacks look like? Because if I sit here and
That's
think
another
about what
one.
my
Yeah.
snacks are, I'm like, I just have grapes and, some other stuff that is not protein.
Well, there's different nuts which have the good fats in them,
Okay.
you know, and again, you don't want to do more than a handful because I know I
Mhm.
love crunchy. That's my thing. Crunchy and salty is like my downfall. You know, I could say no to the chocolate, no to the sweets, but man, the crunchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, give me a Corona and some salsa and chips, and I'm
Stop.
happy.
It's over. It's
Exactly.
over for
But
me.
nuts are great for that, you know, and so
Yeah.
that's a perfect, like if just say you're eating your grapes, grab a handful of almonds, a handful of
Okay.
peanuts. Yeah. Or
Hard-boiled
there's
egg.
Yeah, perfect. Hard-boiled egg is a perfect one. There's a lot of protein bars out there, but you got to be careful with the hidden sugars, you
Yeah.
know, and then the fake sugars are so bad for us because they trick our taste buds, you
Mhm.
know, and it's when you start eating those fake sugars, it's so hard to get off of them and taste real food.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I was pregnant, I was all about putting that sweet and low in my iced tea, you know, and once they were one of my migraine triggers, you know, and because I had
Mhm.
very bad migraines in the past, and that
Mhm.
was one of my triggers. And so I had to stop. And when I stopped, I could not taste food. Like I was using real sugar and I could not taste it.
Mhm.
And again, it took a long time for me again to, you know, bring my taste buds
Mhm.
back. And a lot of people don't talk about that. But
Yeah.
if you really read labels, that Splenda, all that stuff, it's in there, you know, because it says zero sugar, you know, just be warned, it's better to have a little bit of the real sugar than too much of
Mhm.
the fake sugar.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's another one that can bloat us. It causes inflammation in our bodies,
Yeah.
and that's a biggie. That one's a biggie.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
biggie. I think I have
Hmm.
a problem with that.
But then there's protein shakes, and a good one out there. You want to look something that has superfoods in it, that has vitamins. A good one is cachava
Oh, okay.
superfood. That's a good one. It's got the good mushrooms in there.
Ooh,
It's a
okay.
great one. It's
Oh, I'm gonna try
plant-based.
that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great one. And it tastes good just with ice in a shaker. It tastes the chocolate one is my favorite. That's a
Okay,
really good
nice.
one.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try it. Wonder if you can like
So
it.
again, I'm vegan, so I got
Like,
to just chase that
yeah.
protein anywhere I can get it. I try to
Okay.
stay away from all the frozen vegan stuff because there's
Mhm.
so much shit in it.
Other stuff. Yeah, other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah.
but you can do it. If I
Okay.
can do it,
Okay.
anyone can do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm feeling more hopeful. Um, okay. Is there anything else? Are there any common mistakes maybe that women make when they first start lifting weights at this age? Anything in particular that you say is like a common thing that we're doing wrong?
I think the most common thing that I see is just going all out when you start and
Mhm.
then either getting hurt or just uh you get so sore you can't move the next day, you go and then you have a coach screaming at you, go, and things like that. And it's not a thing anymore.
Mhm.
Again, we want to be able to move better and
Mhm.
stay moving better as we age. And with age comes, just if again we're sitting in front of a desk, we might have back issues. And again, strength training helps with all these things,
Mhm.
and again with like again talking about depression and all those things that as we get older it's hard, and then dealing just with life in general and just things going on, and this is why I love promoting strength training. You can go and get on the elliptical and you can, I'm not saying not to do it, but you're not building muscle. And as we get older, we want to protect that and we want to build it and we want to keep it as we age, because as we age, it gets harder and harder and harder as we do it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so what does it look like? Like, okay, like I love hiking. Now I hike and I walk, I don't run anymore. Like, is that a good combination to do
Yes,
with the weightlifting? Because to me, just
absolutely.
walking out in nature, oh my gosh, it just like I need it. Like my body just craves it to be outdoors.
Yes. No, absolutely. That's anything that you can incorporate with your strength training is wonderful. And of course, when you get out there, I mean, there's times where I just go outside and do my training because I just want to be outside,
Mhm.
get some vitamin D and be with nature. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, that's where yoga comes in, Pilates. It's anything that you want to, again, I would put strength training first.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can just add on all the things that you love to do,
Okay.
because I'm going to go back to yoga again for me and my daughter and
Yeah.
just kind of just like a mental thing. But again, I'm not going to give up my strength training
Mhm.
for that. But
Okay. And so if I were to say like, okay, I'm gonna do weightlifting and walking today, would you walk first? Should I walk first or should I wait strength train first and then go for my walk?
either or,
Yeah.
whichever.
Okay.
I do it one way one week, the other way the next
Oh,
week. It
okay.
doesn't matter. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
matter. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Unless you fatigue easily, I would
Hmm.
do it afterwards
Okay.
because you want to save your energy. But for me, walking is more energizing, you
Yeah.
know. So I love doing it before I work
Okay.
out, but when I can't get it in, I'll just wait till afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
no,
Uh,
that's a great one. A book that I recommend for somebody starting to weightlift
oh, perfect.
is called Next Level.
Okay.
And
Next.
this is by Stacy T. Sims.
Awesome.
And this is a
I'll
great,
link
great
it in
book.
the show notes. Awesome. Thank you. Okay,
You know,
great.
that book is just, it talks about uh, menopause, premenopause, weight training. It talks about nutrition. It brings everything and it wraps it all in a nice big
Oh
bow.
my God, that is
Okay. I
amazing.
think I think it even comes in. I do a lot of audiobooks because I'm so busy.
Right.
But I think if you actually purchase the book, or I think even the audiobooks they have PDFs that come with it that can help
Oh,
you with different
perfect.
stuff. So
Oh,
that's a really good one that I just remembered that I right when you said you couldn't remember it, it reminded
perfect.
me to talk about
Okay.
that. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that's a
Awesome.
great one.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
That's amazing. Well,
from
I think
beginning to
that's
start.
it. Perfect. Okay. Do you have any other piece of advice, anything else you'd like to share? And of course, where can people, you know what, how can people work with you?
Again, I'm starting to open up my website,
Mhm.
and I'm going to make it very user friendly. And I'm looking to do it by next year. So when everybody's, in Christmas time, okay, New
Mhm.
Year's resolution,
Awesome.
that's when I'm hoping it would be up, because it's
Okay.
just, like I said, I just opened up my gym last year, and it's just been a work in progress. It's just
Okay.
been, nonstop. And I've been linking in with other coaches, doing that, trying to build my gym. I'm already trying to look for a bigger space. So that's like
Ooh,
another thing on the
we
list.
should
It's just,
franchise and come out to
yeah, I know,
the
right?
IE.
I wish. I wish. Because right now it's just me. I haven't hired any other coach. So that's another thing, is trusting another person to do
Yes,
what I do, because
yes,
it's got to come from the heart for me.
yes.
So, it's not just, okay, lift the
Yeah.
weights. No,
No,
it's
I
it's
get
so
it.
much deeper for me,
Yeah. Oh
that
no, I
that
get it.
yeah.
I get it.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, you let me know. I'll keep an eye out for when that goes live, and I
I
will be sure
appreciate
to
it.
share it because I'm sure it'll be a great resource. All right, awesome. And where can people follow you?
They can follow me at strong_for_life, spelled with a Y.
Mhm.
If you have any questions, and again, I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you have just simple questions, or if you're looking to get some sort of program, you would have, I'll probably have, you'll be like a couple weeks out if I program something for you, only because I'm so busy.
Mhm.
Um, but you can reach me at my email at
Oh,
strong for life, spelled with a Y,
mhm.
llc@gmail.com. And again, I
Cool.
try, even if I can't program something for you right away, I will answer you, and just give you a couple of quick notes,
Okay.
um,
So,
and, tell you where you can start.
okay, awesome. So we can do that, like hire you in that way where you can just kind of create a program for us and then we can like incorporate it and
Yes, but you got
oh,
to be
okay.
patient with me, because I
Yes,
am backed
yes.
up.
Okay, I
I
hear
just want to
you.
bring that
I
out,
hear
but
you.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And of
Oh,
course, and again, it could just be something where I can just start you off,
mhm.
and then you can
Okay.
go off and do something, and then maybe if you still have questions, you can come back to me.
Okay.
Um, but again, I'm working on all that, and
Mhm.
hopefully by next year, everything will be,
Oh,
that's my
that is
goal. Everything will be set up, because I'm starting to get, a flow of emails, and I want to help everybody. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not good at social media like you.
mm.
I've been on some of your pictures and your postings, and I'm trying to hire my daughter, but she wants nothing to do with me. But
I
she's
got
so
it.
good
I
at
got
it, but I'm like, I have no idea. So I'm
it.
trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I just came back from Long Beach, which was a
Yeah.
3-day whole conference with
Mhm.
coaches and lecturers, and they had the whole social media thing. So it was a
Mm.
lot for me to kind of
Mhm.
just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I got to do. So
Mhm.
my plate is full, but I'm so happy to help when I can, and I
Yeah.
will
You
100% try to
okay.
help.
You've always been so great at answering my questions and when I pester you here and there. So thank you.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
don't mind. And if I don't answer right away, it's not that I don't want to. You're bugging me.
Yeah.
Never,
No,
ever,
I
ever.
I
It's
get
just
it.
I'm trying. I want to, and I'm
Yeah.
trying, but there's only one of me right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Leah. It's been great.
Thank
Anything
you,
else?
Sonia, for thinking of
Mhm.
me and having me
Of course.
on.
Of course.
I
Oh
wish
my gosh.
you all the greatness, and this is a great podcast, and I hope
Yeah.
that you
Thank
do
you.
great.
Thank you so much.